Page 27, Harp Song. Well, this looks a little ugly. It's got notes going everywhere. This is where knowing a little bit about music theory really comes in handy, because when you look at it, you know exactly what's going on and it makes sense, and oh, this is easy. If you don't, you just got all these notes going everywhere and think, what? Let's talk about it. Going through the process of learning a piece of music, and the pedal thing is last. Well, it's right before interpretation. Look it over, it's 4 lines long. Treble and bass clef again. 3/4 time signature now, and we got quarter notes mostly. The last measure is a dotted half note. Rhythm shouldn't be a problem. They're all pretty much quarter notes. And if you take it, it's only playing one hand at a time, so I'm going to take both hands together, and we're still in G position, because in the first measure, the little finger's on G here, and that puts your hand here, so that's G position there. And then the second measure, they want your thumb on G here, and that puts your hand here, so that's G position. And just what it is, I don't know that these 3 notes together, it's a chord. It's a G chord. We're going to talk more about chords as we go through this, but you'll learn to recognize them, because you can play all the notes at one time, or you can play them in whatever pattern. And here they're showing bottom, middle, top pattern. That's fine. So it's just this chord. This is the first line. And then the second line, now you have an A, C, A. See, it's the same note names in each hand. Third line, same as the first, and the last line is a little bit of both. So that's the notes and the rhythms. So once I can play those okay, no hesitations anywhere, and I'm connecting everything when I first do this, then I add the articulation, which here you're lifting up. Lift up, so like just a speck of silence. Speck of silence. The last line, you get silence between second and third measures. So that's the articulation. Then the dynamics, MF-P. You'll see this a lot in music where you get 2 dynamics like this. 1 dash something, something dash something. Yeah. It tells you that you're going to play the music more than once, because you can only do 1 dynamic at a time. The dynamic, remember, applies to the melody. So the first time you play it, you're going to play it MF. And then when you play it again, because there's a repeat sign at the bottom, second time you play it, you can play it P. So mezzo forte or moderately loud. There's no real melody here. It's just all the same. And then when you repeat it, you can play it soft. Yeah. You'll have to decide what moderately loud is and what soft is based on your situation. Then I think about the speed. Here they want it moderately slow. Well, slow is not slow. But we don't want it quite that slow. So it's just, that's fine. About that speed. Remember the natural accents. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And then once you have all that, then we think about the pedal. Again, you learn it first without pedal, and then question, why is the pedal being used? What's it do? What's it for? Do I really need to use it? In most music, the pedal indication is only a suggestion. Here, it's more to give you a chance to use the pedal, because you don't need pedal on this piece. You play just fine, but it's very dry. Now it's very dry. It's clean, but it's dry. What they want to do is they want to add the overtones and blend all these notes together. And you have 1 chord in the first line, a different chord in the second. Third line is that one, and then the last line gets both. And they're changing the pedal. It's a different pedaling on each chord. And that's typical. We will change the pedaling at the harmony. When a chord changes, we'll change the pedaling, because we don't want to mix chords together. We don't want to mix this and this, because you get that. And we're not after that sound. So we change the pedal to get rid of the other notes. Now we have these notes. The pedaling they're using isn't exactly a change pedal, what's known as a change pedal. We're lifting up for the phrasing is all. So at the beginning, I'm going to push the notes down and then the pedal. And I'm going to leave the pedal down for the whole first line, but I'm going to lift the pedal up with the hands so there's a speck of silence before I go to the next line. See, there's a speck of silence, and then after I play the first note in the second line, then I push the pedal down. So the last measure of the first line is here. There. It takes a while to get used to coordinating the foot and the hands. And that's the way we're pedaling all of this. Please don't copy me. You get into it and make it yours. They have notes at the bottom of the page where you can play this in other ways also. They say play the third and fourth measures of each line an octave higher. So the first two measures of the first line would be here. And the second two measures would be, both hands would be up here. The next line, you're back down here. Let's talk about that. If you're going to start moving the hands around, we need to understand moving the hands. The different ways of doing it. We try and do it, I do, one hand at a time if possible. Here, you're in this position of the first two measures, and when you go to the third measure, you want to be up here. So the left hand plays first, because I'm finishing here, and the left hand is it playing, I can put the left hand over here, just hover it over and be ready to go because that's where it needs to be. And as it's playing, I'll put the right hand up. So it's... And as the right hand's playing, I move the left hand back down. So I'm moving one hand at a time. So moving one hand at a time in this piece works out very nicely. Don't mess up the beat because you're moving the hands. Of course, you got to look down at the piano when you're moving around. Otherwise, you don't need to look at the keyboard. The second one, they want you to play the first and second measures an octave lower than written. So instead of here, you're going to start out down here and then come up here for the last two measures. So the first line here is here. Same movements. Same thing, we're just coming down in here. And then the last one, you just mix it up any way you want. I'll let you experiment with that. Have fun with it. I suggest when you do it, when you're first trying it out, leave out the pedal so you can hear what the hands are doing. Make sure the fingers are doing what they need to be doing. Remember the natural accents? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. And I also might mention here that sometimes when using pedal, we lose things. You might want something, but the pedal gets in the way, and you have to make a decision. Which do I want, this or that or whatever? In the first line, if I lift up, there's a little silence between each one. I lose that if I pedal through it. It's all connected. So if I want that silence, I gotta lift the pedal up so I can have it. So I have to lift the pedal up at the end of the second measure. If I want that sound. Otherwise, I leave the pedal down and I just lift up with the hands. I go through the motion of it, of lifting up, even though I can't hear it. I feel the lifting up. Let's play this together very slowly and check the notes and all. I'm not going to move around. I'm going to play it right where it's written. We'll do it twice. I'm not going to do louds and softs. I'll pedal it like it's shown. And just really, really slowly, just to check and make sure you got the right notes and all. I'll give us 3 counts. 1, ready, go. Repeat. Three, off.